Welcome to the Sacred Yes podcast, where transformation meets laughter and spirituality loosens its robe. I'm Kat, your host, here with my wise and beautiful co-host, my mother, Cindy. Together, we dive in and explore all the facets of the messy and magical human experience, from spiritual awakenings, relationships, and body love, to cosmic perspectives, personal growth, and real-life chaos, with an added touch of mischief. Nothing's off the table here, and nothing's too sacred to laugh about. So let's take a deep breath and dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Sacred Yes podcast. I am Kat, your host, and here with me is my beautiful mother and co-host, Cindy.
Hi.
So today for our very first episode, we really just want to talk about what brought us here, what got us to this point in our lives, what started us on our journeys, and really why we wanted to start this podcast.
This is going to be exciting, really.
It's a little unnerving.
It very much so.
A little nervous. Even as I'm sitting here coaching myself, telling myself to not overthink.
Yeah.
Because you can always edit.
Exactly.
So today we basically just want to talk about what got us where we're at. More specifically, how we ended up on what people referred to as a spiritual awakening journey.
My journey started a couple of years ago, thanks to your journey starting. But with myself, I've always been kind of interested from the time I was young. All the witchy stuff.
Yeah.
And outer space and other planets and aliens and different things along that line. And
ghosts,
definitely.
The supernatural.
And of course I was raised in church. So yeah, this journey has been interesting and scary and wonderful at the same time.
Yeah. So when would you say it started for you? Like, do you feel like it started when I moved back in? Do you feel like you were getting like echoes of that before I moved back in?
Yes, because, well, yes and no, I guess. Not really hardcore until you moved back in. And I think it was because I had somebody that I could learn from,
right,
instead of just dabbling around. Yeah, I went down the hole, and I'm not going to say it was a rabbit hole, but because I really enjoyed it. But I, did the crystals and that type of thing. So I think I was starting to, but then just dove into it full blast when you started yours.
Yeah. That for me started, it's so hard to pinpoint because I feel like I've been having experiences since I was a kid, but in a sense I kind of shut those off because I was fitting into society, and a lot of the societal structures like tell you that those are woo-woo things. And so I would say, like, for me, it like a lot of people started around COVID.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of misinformation that was flying around in all directions. And I think ultimately what it was doing was it was putting people in a position of really questioning everything, things that we were told to believe or that were our truth. Now it's like you have this evidence that, and this, research is coming up showing that it's actually not that. So I think with things like that, especially when you're dealing with like government and big authorities and stuff like that, it puts people in a position of they're not just questioning one thing, now they're questioning everything. And I think that's where I was at. But it was also, I was in that panic. You remember that?
That panic for
like, oh my gosh, we need to find land and we need to build an underground bunker and we need to do all of this stuff.
The conspiracy.
Yeah, because there's a lot of fear mongering, even in the spiritual community. We watched that just the other day or last night or whatever with that video. Some woman put out a video and And I think she had the best intentions, but it sounded a lot like fear mongering.
Right.
That was
when you start to feel insecure about your surroundings, and for me, putting that all aside, this awakening was my journey, was showing me that there are other things outside of what is currently present.
right.
But looking back at, having to look at what your life has been and what you've gone through.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then also understanding that you had other lives that you lived, which again was down that woo-woo, how many lives have you lived? People would look at it as being, if you spoke about this stuff, it was like, no. But that's why I think this is so interesting, is because this is something that we as a collective are waking up to and realizing that the society or the structure that we've been living in has been set up for a purpose.
Right.
Not necessarily a purpose to benefit.
Yeah, it doesn't serve us, that's for
sure. Exactly.
And if it was, then we wouldn't be yearning for something different, yearning for more.
Right.
So, and it has to start somewhere. And I've noticed that with a lot of people. A lot of people start with the conspiracy theories.
Yes.
So, because again, that puts you in a position of questioning, in a world where you're basically kind of taught to obey. Don't ask questions. This is your truth. This is what you were taught. So, get that really solid in your brain, and then do that for the rest of your life.
Exactly. and if you step out of line, then no. I mean, if you step out of line, it's bad, wrong, and awful.
Yeah, there's consequences for everything. So, yeah, I would say COVID was definitely the start. I started questioning everything. And then, gosh, after I moved back, it continued. It continued. And then it was like, that was when all of the trauma from that one relationship came up. And I think what was the most jarring about that was I had never acknowledged, I never thought, oh, this was kind of abusive, because I wasn't experiencing the physical harm. But, a lot of people don't talk about the mental and the emotional. And so that, I think, just doing that continuing education course and reading through, domestic abuse and trauma and stuff like that, and just acknowledging that I experienced all of that. That was, I think, aside from COVID and the conspiracy theories and questioning, like, that was what really catapulted me onto my journey, because there was just all of that emotion that came up. I mean, you remember, I think I cried like every single day, pretty much all day, for like a month straight.
Yeah.
It was so much that had been suppressed. And it was because I was just shoving it down in my emotional dungeon, saying, oh, hey, everything happens for a reason. That was my first experience with bypassing. I'm like, everything happens for a reason. I don't need to know why. And then the universe was like, yeah, no, you really do.
Well, and I think too that the trauma that we experience is not necessarily just from this lifetime.
No.
And of course, it's carried down from ancestor to ancestor to ancestor.
Right.
And so it's one of those where you're carrying this. And when it gets to the point where it's just like, you can't carry it anymore.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to regurgitate it out and find a way to get rid of it and heal and grow.
And I think that's what excites me so much about this journey is being that I've always been such a logical, grounded, practical, like, quote unquote, realistic person, having science and, studies and research show that things that have been healing us and helping us for thousands of years are indeed effective. That, like you said, there's this passing on of trauma from generation to generation, being able to have a science that's like, hey, it shows it. We can prove it to you. We can prove it to you with, gene expression and the DNA. And that to me is so, not only is it fascinating, but I feel like that is what is going to help so many people as they're kind of kicked onto their awakening journeys too. Because, okay, this is a good kind of shift. How did you feel? So like your journey started around the time that mine did, because you had somebody who could show you. I was experiencing a lot of things before, but how did it feel for you
to start on it?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Honestly, it was because I was your sounding board.
Mm-hmm.
And while you were going through this and you were just, word vomit everything, which I understand the excitement and everything else, because it was making sense. For me, I was just like, okay, this is good. This is good. And I'm sure that I got at that point where, because I've done this myself, where you're so excited and then the person you're talking to gets that glazed look,
right,
that just comes on over because you're like, I'm at mental overload.
Right.
My brain can't take any more of this.
We've exceeded capacity.
Exactly. But once it started to make sense, first year was rough, was absolutely rough. Everything that I was raised with, holidays, this, that, and the other thing, having feeling. One of the hardest things was learning to meditate.
Yeah.
Learning to shut everything out. And I honestly, one of the things that helped me the most was Eckhart Tolle's book.
Oh, The Power of Now.
Yes.
Yes.
So when I could use that helped me stay within reality, within the now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that first year was a lot. It was an absolute lot. But there's no way in God's green earth that I would ever go back.
No.
I won't go back to the way I was before. I won't go back to the way that I functioned. The things I experienced in my life, I am absolutely grateful for, because it honestly got me to where I am now.
Yeah. As much as you could sit there and reflect and be like, oh yeah, life could have been different this way, or I could have done this or that. It's like ultimately you reach a point where you, like I always say, you can adopt that aerial view and you can see how the dominoes were set up. You can see how each and every domino needed to fall the way that it did for everything else to take place.
Yeah. My dog is trying to dig through the couch. Good thing it's covered. Okay. How did you feel your first year?
It was overwhelming because, like we've discovered recently, just because you reach a level of awakening doesn't mean that your ego isn't still present.
Oh.
So I would say that from start to where I'm at now, it's been a process of like kind of disassociating from my ego. You just gonna go ballistic? Your lip is all tucked underneath. Crazy dog. So yeah, it was definitely overwhelming, because now I am being bombarded with all of this information. My body is changing. The way I'm thinking is changing. So much shit is coming up to the surface. It was a lot. Like, I guess the only word is overwhelming. That is the best word that I could use,
right.
Because, and I mean, shit, I've even still had moments recently that were overwhelming. But I think the difference now is that I'm not overthinking things. I'm not trying to figure things out. At the beginning of my journey, it was like freaking bomb dropped with all of this information. And it was a process of trying to feel things out, figure things out, ultimately come back to myself, which was all about connecting to my intuition, which was a process. And I think that's what's so important, is that people know that it's a process. Like, this is not overnight. Yes, your ego is designed to expect like instant gratification. And sometimes we get that, but a lot of the time we don't. So I think being patient with the process is I'm always going to say that's one of the most important parts, like patience with everybody's process.
Right. Exactly.
Because that's the other thing. Everybody's going through their own shit. And if we can reflect on our own awakening process and see how challenging it was, we're able to do that with other people too. Like, compassion for self means compassion for others. Love for self means love for others.
And I remember one of the things you told me is at some point you are going to love everybody that hurts you. And I know that sounds like a fairy tale. And my interpretation of it is not necessarily love like I have for you or other people in my family. It is a neutral feeling. Mm-hmm. It's a feeling for me like, thank you for what you brought into my life. Thank you for stirring that pot up.
Yeah.
And at the time that it was happening, no, I'm not going to sit there and go, thank you. But now that I can take a step back and look at it logically and almost kind of unemotionally, I'm not cutting it off, but I'm understanding that I had to go through this in order to learn.
Right.
And so, yes, there is a thanks. But does that mean that, I want to hang out with that person that hurt my feelings, or that person that was so destructive, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
No. And nor do I have to.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is that I don't have to do what I always thought I had to do because I was a people pleaser.
Right.
So, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this.
Yeah.
It's new. It's exciting. And I'm very grateful and very thankful that I'm on this journey.
Yeah.
And really it's a new way of conducting your life. It's a new way of living your life. So
I think it's also really important to note that everybody's journey is going to look different. I mean, we coexist, we co-create, we live together, we're on our journeys together, but they're still different because everybody's perspective is going to vary. I mean, we're all individual expressions of our creator. So it's always going to be slightly different. Just like we talk about the disco ball,
right.
Like everybody is a little lens on the disco ball. So you might be really similar, you might be close to the ones around you, but it's still going to be different, and you're still going to see things from a slightly different angle or a different perspective.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to be patient. And comparison, like, don't compare yourself to
anybody.
People. Don't even I don't know. I can't say don't compare yourself to who you were before, but like, if you do it, I don't know, how do you call something a healthy comparison? Like, if I'm going to do any kind of comparison, it's I'm going to compare who I am now to who I was before to see my growth, to see how far I've come.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not going to compare myself to, somebody else who offers similar or the same services that I do, because they have their own unique energetic signature. Right. So they offer something that I don't, and I'm not meant to. I think we're all capable of doing a lot of things, but we don't always sign up to be the jack of all trades.
Well, and I think when you're starting on this, you really don't know. I know with myself, what was my mission? What was my journey supposed to look like? Is it something I really honestly did not know.
Yeah.
And nor did I really think about it. I mean, I lived I grew up in a divorced family, which so many people do. I grew up in a divorced family. I went to church from the time that I was born and went to church until you were older. I think you were probably what, 13, 14, 15, something like that.
Something like that.
And so it just got to the point where but I was raised in the church. I was raised to believe in a higher power, and I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah.
But going on this gave me a different way of looking at life.
Yeah.
And so where I was living one way, the way that I was taught, the way my mom was taught, the way my grandmother was taught.
Very victim mentality.
Yeah. And so when I started on this and understood that, first of all, for me, the concept was your life was written out, so to speak. And that was something that I talked about when I was younger.
Yeah.
I know I have a book that was written, and it's the Cindy book.
Yeah.
And this is what you're going to go through. This is why you don't get your book.
Yeah.
And it's been, your book, so to speak, has been depicted in so many different movies, many shows. But I had a book. I knew it was my book. I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
And so I still feel like we've discussed before, you come in here, you live your life, you have guardians. Now it's a part of life. Now it's a part of the way that I look at things, and it's comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's what brings joy to me, honestly. And, yeah.
And in the books, that still rings true, because if you were to say that to anybody in the spiritual community, they'd be like, oh yeah, the Akashic Records.
Yes.
That's like the book of you and the Akashic Records.
Exactly.
Except like when we talk about it, it's more like a section of the library, because I don't feel like, for some people who have incarnated many, many, many times, like thousands of times, you're not going to fit all that shit in one book. I mean, if you're thinking from a logical perspective,
Right.
You're not going to fit all that in one book. So you're going to have multiple books. So it's like, why not one book per lifetime that you live, or alternate reality, or whatever.
The adventures of Cindy in this category, the disasters of Cindy in this category, the love prospects.
But don't you have all of those in like every lifetime?
As far as I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe not. Assume. Maybe not. Maybe in one lifetime you have zero love prospects.
Yeah. You just coast.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway,
I think getting through the first year was the most difficult, because I was still so much tied into the way that I was living my life and trying to change the way I was doing things. When you started yours, and we've discussed this before, where I honestly feel like we went on such a high. In my feeling, we drove some people away because we were so high on this.
Did we drive people away, or was it just that was a part of our process?
I know that it was overwhelming for some, and because they were not ready to hear it, but we were also so high on this way of thinking, that it was where I didn't want to step off of this cloud that I was on,
right?
Because I was experiencing things that I thought were absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
They were cool. They were that woo-woo stuff. And I loved it so much. But I honestly feel like we were given that feeling, that vision, that interaction, the way that we did things, to say, hey, you got to dig out all your crap. You've got to be able to understand where it came from, understand that, yes, you've dealt with this stuff in prior lives. And knowing that that's done, that's over with, you clear it so you don't have to keep carrying it.
Clearing and being able to reach those higher levels of consciousness. That's the whole point. It's not about like just chasing the high, the high frequencies. It's about being able to clear the density from your physical body so that you can anchor those higher conscious energies in you. So it's like if you're constantly leaving your body, which that was something I had to realize too. Like I've mentioned to you and recently in like social posts that I was bypassing. I was just being a person that feels so much of the collective emotion. I feel my own emotion. I've experienced a lot of lifetimes. It's just it's so much.
Yeah.
And so when I found all of this, I was like, oh my God, let's escape. Because it just felt so amazing. But like we discussed today, I feel so grounded in my body, but I feel like my psychic gifts are more heightened.
Oh,
I feel like
definitely.
I feel like my intuition is heightened. I didn't realize when all of this stuff was coming in that I was going to need to stay in my body and be grounded. It's like I just and that's how it is on the journey. You don't know the next step. You don't know what it is that you're preparing yourself for. You're just guided to trust the next step.
And I think that was one of the biggest things that was so difficult.
Yeah.
Was trusting that next step, because your ego is your ego is a trip.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much I allowed my ego to run my life.
Right.
It ran on fear. It ran on all of the feelings that, good and bad, that I've experienced.
Right.
But it holds on to the stuff that really hurts, that you're not worthy and you're not this, that, and the other thing.
But on this journey, you've discovered where that comes from. And a lot of it,
Yeah.
like we can talk about past lives up one side and down the other. But what a lot of people don't talk about is what the fuck happened in this life. We don't talk about how a huge portion of our ego is programmed in this lifetime.
Yes.
So, your inner child is telling you, oh my gosh, I didn't get the love that I needed. My parents didn't show me the love that I needed. And because of this, then I started to attract in relationships, whether they were platonic or romantic, business relationships with people that didn't see me, respect me, love me.
I don't think that everything that we experience in our lives before this was horrific, but I think it definitely were stepping stones towards where we are now.
Yeah.
So
you mean like in this lifetime or like past lifetimes?
This time.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that rings true for past lifetimes too, because I have had multiple people on my table during hypnosis that have gone to, they've regressed to what I've learned is referred to as potato picking lives. But they're basically just ordinary lives. And a lot of the time you see that come up with people that have had really, really chaotic lives in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really to show them, like, not only have you lived a peaceful life, like, yeah, it may be ordinary, but it was peaceful and it was gratifying. It was fulfilling, satisfying, all of those things. So it's like, it's showing that there is simplicity. And also maybe you went through all of this stuff to see all of the patterns and all of the stuff that your family line has been carrying on for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And now, yeah, you've experienced shit, just like a lot of us have experienced shit, but it's given us that opportunity to see the shit and also change it, to break the cycle. So,
and I think that's what this journey is about, is breaking cycles, healing past traumas, healing yourself to the point where you don't have to incur, or at least you understand why the traumas came.
Yeah.
Why you experienced what you did, mm-hmm. and not holding on to it. Again, it goes back into that Akashic record. So yeah, in this lifetime, I experienced this, that experience, what was needed, what was kept, what needed to be kept, right, is put away. So it's your own little library that you can, refer to. But yeah, I yeah. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Your tangents just like get cut off really quickly.
They do. And I am, as sure as I'm sitting here, convinced that when my train of thought stops, it is my guide saying, you've done what you need to do. enough is enough.
That's enough, Cindy.
Hold on. We'll pick you up at the next train station.
We're veering left.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. That's how these things go. And as always, like there's so much that we can talk about. And I guess that's the beauty of being able to start a podcast and share our experiences, because really this is just two perspectives.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not to tell anybody what to do. It's to give a voice to things that maybe haven't been spoken about for a really long time.
Right.
It's not a space to be victims. It's not a space to place blame on anything. It's really just like, hey, this is what we went through. And if you can relate, bitchin'.
Right.
Let's change the world, you know?
And I think too that with future episodes and such, I want to be able to dive into different things, dive into what are some of the interesting things that we think about or that we've come across, experiences that are going, nah, that really did not happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the hell it did.
Yeah.
And that type of
like
stuff.
Undeniable synchronicities that you experience with another person, or, like experiences with maybe 4 or 5 people where it's completely undeniable. Yeah. We have so much shit to talk about and so many different,
subjects,
so many things we can touch on and talk about. And I think the intention is to really, encourage autonomy and sovereignty in other people. Like, don't just take everything we say as gospel written word. This is just our truth. And you know what? The beauty of personalized truth is that it gets to change.
Yeah.
Just like we grow and we change and shift, we morph.
And honestly, and I think one of the important reasons why we decided to do this podcast was that knowing full well that there are other people out there that are starting out now where we were 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that if we can say something or share something or whatever and let these people know, because one of the things that helped me more than anything else, when I thought that I was seeing little critters running around the ground or something along that line, Suzanne Giesman was one of those people that helped me with that, because the seminar that we went to go see her, when she said in her opening is, if you think that you see things that are not there, you're not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You are actually seeing those things. So I think this is to help people. This is what my goal is to help people that are starting on their journey. And when they feel like they're going nuts, or they feel like this is just too weird to be real, that maybe something that we say or share would let them know that it's okay.
Yeah. Like here's community that you can come to, you can talk to us, maybe not even talk, but it's essentially just like having a community there that shows you that you're not crazy, that can validate you, that can help you along your journey, because it's going to be so different, and everybody needs something different, needs somebody different, needs somebodies. I went through a lot of different somebodies that helped me on my journey. So
I think we're going to go ahead and stop on this one.
Yeah, I think this is a good place to stop.
Thank you so much for being with us. This is new for us, so it's a challenge, but it's something that honestly is coming from both of our hearts, and
we're excited to share our authentic selves and our humanness, and not be cookie cutter spiritual people, because I think that's the biggest point of our podcast is showing people that spirituality doesn't have to be a cookie cutter routine. It's going to be different for everybody.
Exactly.
Thank you all so much for tuning in with us today on the Sacred Yes podcast. And until next time, take care, my loves.
Tina, let her run. I gotta go in a bubble. I can't.